Hey everyone, it's Mike here. Today, I want to talk about something that changed my entire relationship with money, and I believe it can change yours too. We're going to discuss that magical moment when you hit $50,000 in savings, and why this number isn't just another milestone, but a fundamental shift in your financial life. Before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome. I spent years studying finance and investment, and I've learned that the path to wealth isn't just about knowing the formulas. It's about understanding the psychology, the momentum, and those critical inflection points that separate those who build lasting wealth from those who stay stuck. And if you find value in what we discussed today, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about giving you the real, actionable insights that can transform your financial future. Now, let's talk about $50,000. To some, it might seem arbitrary. Why not $40,000? Why not $100,000? But here's what I've discovered through research, through behavioral economics, and through watching countless people on their financial journeys. The $50,000 mark represents a psychological and mathematical tipping point that fundamentally alters your trajectory toward financial independence. Let me start with something most people don't talk about: the psychology of saving. Research in behavioral economics has shown us that saving money isn't just about math. It's about mindset, motivation, and momentum. When you're starting from zero, every dollar feels like a mountain to climb. You're working paycheck to paycheck, trying to scrape together your first $1,000, then your first $5,000. It feels slow. It feels grinding. It feels like you're pushing a boulder uphill. But something remarkable happens as you approach that $50,000 threshold. Research on savings behavior reveals that individuals go through distinct stages in their savings journey: planning, initiation, and habit formation. That first stage, where you're just beginning, is dominated by immediate emotions and present-day pressures. You're fighting against what researchers call present bias, the tendency to prioritize immediate gratification over future benefits. Studies on goal gradient theory show us that as we get closer to a goal, our motivation actually increases. Think about running a marathon. Those last few miles, even though you're physically exhausted, you find energy you didn't know you had because you can see the finish line. The same principle applies to savings milestones. As you approach $50,000, you're no longer just dreaming about financial security, you're experiencing it. You can feel it becoming real. And here's where it gets interesting. Breaking down larger savings goals into smaller, more achievable ones can help build momentum and motivation over time, with research showing that small wins can have a big impact on behavior. Each milestone you hit, $10,000, $20,000, $35,000, reinforces your belief that you can do this. You start to see yourself differently. You're no longer someone who wants to save money. You've become someone who saves money. That identity shift is enormous. Now let's talk about the math, because this is where things get really exciting. You've probably heard about compound interest before. It's often called the eighth wonder of the world. But understanding it intellectually and experiencing it viscerally are two completely different things. Here's the reality. After reaching $100,000, compound interest takes over, and saving the next $100,000 happens faster, often with less effort. But $50,000 is where you start to really feel this effect kicking in. At $50,000, if you're earning even a modest 7% annual return, that's $3,500 per year in growth without you lifting a finger. That's almost $300 per month. Think about that. You could be earning more from your investments than some people's car payments, and you didn't have to work an extra hour for it. The rule of 72 tells us that money doubles at a predictable rate based on your return. At 7%, your money doubles roughly every 10 years. But here's what most people miss. That first doubling from $50,000 to $100,000 sets up an exponential trajectory. Once you hit $100,000, the next doubling takes you to $200,000, then $400,000. Each cycle becomes more powerful because the base amount is larger. Let me give you a real example. If an investor starts at age 25 investing $200 per month until age 65 with an 8% return, they accumulate approximately $698,000, while someone waiting until age 35 with the same contributions only reaches about $298,000. That 10-year difference nearly doubles the final result. Time is your most valuable asset, and reaching $50,000 early gives time the maximum opportunity to work its magic. Let's talk about something deeper: the psychological shift that happens when you cross this threshold. Research in financial psychology distinguishes between what's called a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. When you're living paycheck to paycheck with minimal savings, your brain is constantly in threat detection mode. Every unexpected expense, a car repair, a medical bill, a broken appliance, feels like a crisis. Studies show that people who experience scarcity tend to focus on short-term needs, making it difficult to prioritize long-term goals such as saving. Your cognitive resources are consumed by the immediate problem of survival. You're not thinking about opportunities, you're thinking about avoiding disaster. But when you have $50,000 in the bank, everything changes. That scarcity tunnel vision starts to lift. You're not constantly stressed about the next emergency because you know you can handle it. This cognitive freedom is worth more than the money itself. Your brain can now think about growth instead of protection. You can consider opportunities instead of just avoiding threats. This shift manifests in practical ways. There's a unique confidence that comes with knowing you have a substantial savings cushion. You negotiate better at work because you're not terrified of losing your job. You make better investment decisions because you're not desperate for quick returns. You can pursue career changes or entrepreneurial ventures because you have a safety net. You become more financially fearless, and that fearlessness creates opportunities that weren't visible before. Consider this sobering statistic. Research shows that nearly 40% of Americans struggle to cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing or selling something. $400. That's not even a month's rent in most cities. That's not a major medical procedure. That's just life happening. And for nearly half of people, it's a financial crisis. When you're stuck in this cycle, you're not building wealth, you're managing crisis after crisis. Your savings rate is 0 or negative. And with a 0% savings rate, you can never retire because you need your paycheck just to make it to the next paycheck. It's a mathematical impossibility to achieve financial independence when you have no surplus. But crossing the $50,000 mark means you've completely broken free from this trap. You've built what behavioral economists call a buffer, a space between your income and your essential expenses that gives you flexibility and control. This buffer doesn't just provide financial security, it provides psychological security. And here's something crucial. Establishing an emergency fund serves as a foundation for pursuing financial independence, allowing other investments to grow uninterrupted by providing protection from unexpected expenses. When you have this foundation, you're not constantly pulling money out of investments when life happens. Your wealth can compound without interruption, which accelerates your progress exponentially. Let me share something that might surprise you. Your savings rate matters more than almost anything else when it comes to financial independence. It matters more than your income. It matters more than your investment returns. It matters more than your starting point. Research on the financial independence movement has mapped out exactly how savings rates correlate with the time it takes to retire. A 5% savings rate results in 66 years until reaching financial independence, while a 25% savings rate shrinks that time to 32 years. A 50% rate shortens it to 17 years, and a 75% rate reduces it to just 7 years. Think about what this means. If you're saving 5% of your income, you'll need to work for 66 years to replace your income with investment returns. But if you can push that to 50%, you can retire in 17 years. The difference between these scenarios isn't earning more money. It's the intentional decision about how much of your income you keep versus how much you spend. And here's where $50,000 becomes transformative. Reaching this milestone typically means you've developed the discipline to maintain a meaningful savings rate. You've proven to yourself that you can delay gratification, resist lifestyle inflation, and prioritize future freedom over present consumption. These habits compound just like your money does. There's something magical that happens psychologically when your net worth reaches a certain size. You can actually see it growing month to month, even without adding new money. When you have $5,000 earning 7%, that's about $30 per month in growth. It's real, but it's not life-changing. You barely notice it. But at $50,000, that's over $300 per month in growth from returns alone. You open your investment app or check your account, and you can see hundreds of dollars appearing from nowhere. That visible progress is incredibly motivating. It reinforces the behavior. It proves that the system works. Each milestone reached, whether it's the first $1,000 saved or a new savings account balance record, is a victory worth acknowledging, because reflecting on progress reinforces the intrinsic rewards of the journey and builds momentum. This visible progress creates what psychologists call a positive feedback loop. You save money, you see it grow, you feel motivated, so you save more money. The cycle reinforces itself. Contrast this with the beginning of the journey, where you save $500 and it feels like it makes no difference. That negative feedback, the sense that your efforts aren't making an impact, is why so many people give up before they experience the transformation. Let's talk about risk for a moment, because this is where $50,000 creates options that simply don't exist with smaller amounts. When you have minimal savings, you're forced to be conservative with everything. You can't take career risks. You can't invest aggressively. You can't pursue entrepreneurial ventures. Every decision is made from a position of fear because you have no cushion to absorb mistakes. But having $50,000 or more saved provides a financial cushion that allows pursuing opportunities that might otherwise have to be passed up, offering the flexibility to take calculated risks. Want to start a business? You can cover your living expenses for a year while you build it. Want to go back to school for a career change? You can afford the tuition and the income gap. Want to invest in an opportunity that requires capital? You have the resources. This ability to take calculated risks is how wealth compounds beyond just investment returns. The best opportunities in life, whether career advancement, business ventures, or investment deals, often require capital and risk tolerance. Having $50,000 puts you in position to seize these opportunities when others can't. Moreover, this financial foundation allows for better investment decisions. A substantial nest egg allows for strategic diversification into more sophisticated and potentially lucrative investment avenues. You're not limited to your employer's 401k options. You can access better investment opportunities, diversify more effectively, and structure your portfolio for optimal growth rather than just safety. Research in behavioral finance has revealed something fascinating about how we pursue financial goals. The structure of the goal itself dramatically affects our likelihood of success. The savings process involves several distinct stages planning, where individuals set specific goals, initiation, where they make the first pivotal deposit, and habit formation, where they develop a routine of consistently setting aside income. What makes $50,000 such a powerful goal is that it's substantial enough to be meaningful but achievable enough to be realistic for many people. It's what researchers call a proximal goal, close enough to visualize but far enough to require sustained effort. These proximal goals are more motivating than distant goals, like become a millionaire, because you can actually see the path to get there. And here's something important. Breaking down major financial goals into smaller, more manageable objectives helps maintain momentum. For example, when building a fund toward a target, setting monthly goals in addition to annual goals and overall targets provides regular wins. Each checkpoint you pass, 10,000, 20,000, 35,000, gives you evidence that the system works and that you're making progress. Let me share something personal. When I first crossed the $50,000 mark in my own journey, I noticed something unexpected. I started making better decisions across all areas of my life. It wasn't just financial confidence, it was general confidence. I negotiated a better salary at work. I made more strategic career choices. I invested in my education and skills. I took better care of my health. This isn't unique to me. Research consistently shows that reaching significant financial milestones isn't just about the money. It's about achieving a psychological milestone that boosts confidence and provides a stable foundation for both personal and professional life. Financial security reduces stress, and reduced stress improves decision-making across the board. It's a virtuous cycle. When you're constantly worried about money, it consumes cognitive bandwidth. Every decision involves a calculation about whether you can afford it, whether it's worth the risk, what the financial implications might be. That constant calculation is exhausting, and it leaves less mental energy for everything else: creativity, problem-solving, relationships, health. But when you have $50,000 in the bank, many of these calculations become automatic. Yes, you can afford that professional development course. Yes, you can handle that medical procedure. Yes, you can help a family member in need. The mental freedom this creates cannot be overstated. You become more generous, more creative, more present in relationships, and more effective in your work. Now, I need to address something important. Not all paths to $50,000 are equal, and there are traps that can derail your progress even after reaching this milestone. The first trap is lifestyle inflation. As your income grows and your savings increase, there's enormous pressure to upgrade your lifestyle. Bigger apartment, newer car, more expensive vacations, designer clothes. Here's the thing. Escaping the paycheck-to-paycheck level doesn't necessarily mean making a much bigger salary. It means giving yourself financial leeway by managing expenses. You don't get wealthy by earning more and spending more at the same rate. You get wealthy by maintaining a gap between what you earn and what you spend, and then investing that gap. The second trap is comparison. Social media has made this worse than ever. You see friends buying houses, taking luxury vacations, driving expensive cars, and you feel like you're falling behind. But what you don't see is the debt load, the stress, the financial fragility behind those displays. Social norms play a significant role in shaping individual behavior, and peer influence and social pressure can positively influence saving behavior when social cues encourage saving. Surround yourself with people who value financial independence, not those who compete over consumption. The third trap is market timing and get-rich-quick schemes. When you have $50,000, suddenly you become a target for every investment opportunity imaginable. Crypto speculation, day trading, multi-level marketing, real estate flipping courses. The promise is always the same. Get rich fast with this one weird trick. Don't fall for it. The magic ingredient that makes compound interest work best is time, and when you start saving, outweighs how much you save. Consistent, boring, long-term investing beats speculation almost every time. So you've reached $50,000, now what? This is where the journey gets really exciting because you've built the foundation, and now it's time to accelerate. The beautiful thing about compound growth is that it's exponential, not linear. Your next $50,000 will come faster than your first. Your $100,000 milestone will arrive before you know it. But reaching these next milestones requires maintaining the discipline that got you here while also optimizing your approach. This means maximizing your savings rate wherever possible. Wealthy people save first, then spend what is left over, while most people save what is left over after spending. Automate your savings so it happens before you have a chance to spend the money. It means investing wisely. You don't need to be a genius investor. You don't need to pick individual stocks or time the market. Many in the financial independence community utilize low-cost index funds for investing, which doesn't need to be complicated or time-consuming. Simple, diversified, low-cost index funds will get you where you need to go. It means continuing to increase your income. There's a limit to how much you can cut expenses, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. Invest in your skills, take on side projects, ask for raises, change jobs strategically. Your earning power is your most valuable asset, and you should constantly be working to increase it. So start today. Open that investment account, automate that savings transfer, create that budget, track that net worth, make the first deposit, because your future self is counting on the decisions you make right now. And the person you'll become on the journey to $50,000 is worth far more than the money itself. If this resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's build a community of people who understand that financial independence isn't a pipe dream. It's a choice. It's a process. And it starts with understanding that everything changes when you hit that $50,000 mark. Thanks for being here. Now go out there and make it happen.